aren't the scriptures infallible? How come there's all these differences? I never realised that there was such anomalies or disparities within the Gospels between the accounts, and how do we reconcile all this? And you start to get all concerned about the fallibility of the scriptures. But here's the truth of the matter. The fact that the Gospels are like this adds credibility and validity with regard to their genuineness, because these minor inconsistencies actually dispel accusations of collusion. Let me explain. While we do find a multitude of minuscule disparities between the Gospels in their lesser details, we never find any deviations in the major pillars of Jesus' life story. Here's the thing. If all 4 of the Gospels were completely identical with absolutely zero anomalies, then this would prove that 3 of them were directly copied from one genuine, authentic original. This is definitely not the case, as they all differ in many ways and contain exclusive source material not found in any of the others. The fact that there are minor differences in small details within the stories and in the order of chronology actually gives us greater evidence that these are in fact 4 separate accounts from 4 individuals who, when it came to the time when they wrote it, did not collude with one another or copy each other in any way. Instead, they each wrote an account of Jesus' life separately through their own research, and then they were individually guided by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. So for example, let's take a murder scene, and there's 3 witnesses that see this murder. And so they're at court, and the first witness is brought to the stand. And he says, I was watching and I saw these 2 men, they were wrestling outside the hotel lobby. And as they were jostling with one another, one guy grabbed a knife out of his pocket and plunged it into the guy's head. And he fell on the ground and died. And then they say, thanks for that. And the second witness is brought to the stand and he says, well, I saw these 2 men and they were wrestling outside the hotel lobby. And then one guy clenched his fist out of nowhere, just gave him a big king hit and smashed him in the head, and he fell on the ground and died. And then the third witness comes to the stand and he says, well, I saw one man was just standing there on his own outside the hotel lobby, and there was another guy located on the roof, and he had this big boulder, this big rock, and he just threw it down and it hit him in the head and he fell on the ground and died. Now everyone's going to say the first 2 were consistent. There was minor differences. Yeah, one thought he saw a knife because they were a fair distance away. So one of them thought he saw him plunge a knife. The other one thought it was a punch to the head. But you could say they're corroborating evidence. They're pretty similar to one another. But the third man who said one guy's on the roof and one guy's down here and he threw a rock is clearly a false witness. So you can see how the Gospels are only differing in those minor details. They don't have any major changes in the major critical events like Jesus' resurrection, his ascension, his virgin birth, and all the major miracles he did within his ministry. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that the 4 Gospel writers never talked with each other. They would have had conversations at times throughout their lives and reminisced over the events of Jesus' life. But when it came to writing their Gospels, they each went away alone and wrote their own exclusive content. This is what the evidence of these anomalies show us.